It is always a delight to welcome to 100 Huntley Street Andrew Blackwood, who is a registered psychotherapist in the Greater Toronto Area. He speaks with great wisdom and eloquence on issues of teens and couples and marriage and family relationships. And we're welcoming you back today to talk about back to school, Andrew.
Yes.
Oh my, oh my. You know, remember there was that commercial a few years ago where they would say it's the most wonderful time of the year.
For some.
For some it is. But for others, it is an absolute drama and trauma, not just for kids, but also for parents. Can you give us some handles as to how families watching 100 Huntley Street can prepare for a brand new school year for the kids? What do we need to do?
Well, you know, because the issues will vary from age to the uniqueness of each child. So we're going to cover a few simple keys that will apply to all ages.
All right.
The first one I think is really important is to seize opportunities to harness motivation.
Seize opportunities to harness motivation.
Motivation. And a lot of people come and they're like, how do I motivate my child? How to motivate my child? And that's really important. For the younger children, it's a lot easier because you simply got to ask them, what are you looking forward to? Are you wanting to paint? Are you wanting to draw? Are you going to see this person or that person? So it's easier to gauge some excitement. The older they get is the more challenging they are going to be to define what that is if they don't know what it is that they want.
Is it looking for teachable moments in your conversations with your kids?
I think looking for learning moments as parents all the way through their development is going to be key. So asking them questions about, you know, what's important to them, or trying to catch glimpses of who they really are. So one of the things about harnessing motivation is really exploring what their values are. Values are key.
When they get older, is there a little bit different level of conversation when you seize these opportunities?
Most certainly. So I was working with a young man who just did not want to go to school. He just didn't see the point. He was bright, articulate, but his mother was struggling to motivate him. Come to find out that one of his core values was being better, growing. Challenging himself. So when we tapped into that, all of a sudden there was a point.
Yeah.
He wanted to challenge himself to be better, to see how good he could do. And that was how he harnessed the motivation.
There was the motivation.
There was the motivation.
Another thing you talk about is to say positive things. And I'm reminded of this with our grandbaby. And it was true with our children years ago. And you have a baby girl, 2 years old. Because you love your kids, you want to protect them, oftentimes the first thing you say to them is no, right?
Right.
But you talk about the importance, and it's true, I agree, we need to say positive things to our kids.
Certainly.
So walk us through what that means when we are oftentimes the doctor no and mom no, dad no in a child's life, because we do love them.
We do, and part of our way of loving people is protecting them. But one of the things that I do with families is I teach them the art of deep appreciation. And as you will know, any family where they express gratitude, any kind of relationship, it thrives. But deep appreciation moves that step further by acknowledging unique traits about each person in every moment. So let's say my wife, I worked late and she went ahead and prepared a meal. I could say, thanks, hon, that was fabulous. Or I could say, you know what, I know that you were tired earlier tonight and I appreciate how much effort it took to make this meal. By highlighting the effort, right, saying that she's hardworking, it deepens that appreciation even so much more. So when we do things like that with our kids, we're really affirming who they are. We're really building their self-esteem in a way that's simple, it's constant, and in the back of their minds, they're starting to say, well, yeah, I am hardworking. And by searching for those opportunities, we enable ourselves to stay positive every day.
And I think by saying positive things when you witness it, it reinforces positive behavior for the future. Which transitions here, you talk about saying positive things, but then you next talk about the importance of seeing the positive side of every situation.
Every situation.
Wow.
That's what we want to work towards. We want to build that skill, because when we model that, then it becomes part of our culture, part of the air that we breathe, and our kids are going to do the same thing. So despite how challenging a situation might be, there's always going to be an opportunity to respond. There will always be options that they consider. So when we adopt the idea that, you know, things are going to be okay, you will be okay, then we can support them to recognize that as well. One of the things that I don't want people to do is to dive into problem solving and just seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. That's not what we're talking about.
Teach our kids that life is hard.
Right.
Has its tough days.
So we definitely want to first empathize with them, but then we don't want to get so caught up into what they're believing about the situation that we necessarily agree. So if someone comes home from a hard day at school, let's say they had an experience of being bullied, right? We don't want to just jump in and say, oh, everything's going to be fine, right? Go back to school. And we don't want to just jump into planning mode. We really want to empathize and say, okay, what was that like? That must have been hard. Were you embarrassed? So the more that we can empathize
And help them process their emotions instead of holding it in.
Precisely, yeah.
Our time is running out. The fourth thing, and these are so good. Thanks again for these. You say, show yourself to be a committed partner in their learning experience. Are you talking about being a committed partner to the child?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can do that in so many ways, whether that means being an advocate for them in school, connecting with their teachers if there are concerns, or even when they come home, like I said, by figuring out how their day was, asking them what is it that they need from you. We don't want to assume that they always need your help, but we want to make sure that they understand that we're available when they need us.
How can people get in touch with you? Because there are sometimes more layers and complications in life that require a good counselor, a good psychotherapist. I know I've had that in my life and have been enriched by it, helped by it, especially in transitional seasons of life. How can folks get in touch with you or find out more about you?
Well, two ways, simple. Simplest one, andrew@dkleadership.org is my email.
All right.
Or you could find me at dkleadership.org on the website.
Well, we have it there on the screen, and we hope that people will visit you. And for those of you that may have a need where there's family counseling, there may be individual counseling needed. Maybe you're going through some difficult times and you live in the Greater Toronto Area. I hope that you'll get in touch with Andrew and at least begin a conversation of having a deeper conversation. I think you'd benefit from it greatly. Andrew represents his profession and represents faith very, very well. He'll come at things from a biblical worldview and help you on the journey.